man who's turning all our water.
Hi guys, okay, today I'm going to do a video outside in the really nice British summertime weather. Like, this is really strange for us because we don't get this kind of weather, so I thought it would be nice to just come out here, lounge about and do a video because I never get to do one outside. So just the sort of warning, if I start to jump up and scream, it's probably because I can hear bees, and yeah, there's bees around somewhere. But anyway, we'll just ignore that, pretend that they're not there, and hopefully this will be a good enough video and you can kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to do without me sort of prancing about like a baby. So the first one I'm going to start with, I've done them in categories so that it'll be easier for me to remember them all, but they're all sort of here, and I'm going to pull them out one by one and tell you why I like them. Hopefully you will enjoy them as well. But anyway, I've written them all down in the book so that I remember. Okay, so as it is summertime, I'm sure there'll be lots of you who'll be spending your time on the beach and just going out and maybe enjoying this kind of weather when you go on your holidays. So obviously I'm sure some of you enjoy reading books, and I think the best book to take on holiday, so your best summer read perhaps, probably would be something like a glossy magazine. I've got a few of them here, so I actually like reading Look magazines, and I have been reading them for about 3 or 4 years, and they're probably the best because they're just easy reads. You know, you don't need much attention, you can still be sunbathing, having a good time and flicking through one of these things. And I just like the fact that they're glossy, you can fold them up so they'll be easy to put into a travel bag like your suitcase or your hand luggage, and they just go snugly in between clothes, that kind of thing. You don't need anything hardback like this, so it's kind of versatile in that it fits in everything. And yeah, they're one of those things that if you damage it, it's not really a big deal either because it's just a magazine, you can always replace it. So I think magazines out of everything are the best summer read for summer. But if you aren't into magazines, sometimes they can be a bit, you know, sometimes you just want to read something a little bit more intelligent, then I recommend a book that sort of centres on summertime, that kind of thing. So I have one here, and this is called A Delirious Summer, and it's by Ray Blackston. And this obviously is titled with a summery sort of title, so you would sort of read this at summer, but it's nice to sort of relax on the beach reading this. And on the back, one of the reviews says that it's an ideal read for a lazy summer night. So again, you could go to the beach, and if you're not doing anything, have a bit of a flick through. It is a good book. I probably won't tell you what it's about, but it's good because it's just light and funny, and you know, we all need something light and funny when we're going on our holidays. So yeah, those two are definitely my summer reads for summertime. Okay, so the next thing that I thought, most of us have a stack of books at home, and there's always going to be one book that you think is just incredible for its content, in the fact that it's inspirational, that it just brings something light to your reading. And I just found that this next book I just really liked, so I put this under the category of an inspirational read. So this would be great for those of you who want something different, something that's just going to sort of lift you up a little bit, you know, especially on those days where it's not so sunny or you don't have a lot to do. So I've picked this book, and this is a book called Run Baby Run, and it's by Nikki Cruz. This book is one of those books that I think everybody should read, whether or not you are. It is a Christian focused book. Whether or not you are a Christian, there are books that a lot of people read and like to read just because of their inspiration. I'll just basically tell you what it's about. It's about a man who I think came from Puerto Rico to America in the 1950s, and basically he was left there on his own. He joined a gang, he went into like the drugs and alcohol trade, he was in lots of fights and so on and so forth. He was just a very lost person, and in the end I think that a preacher came to his town, and the preacher just basically told him that, you know, that he could change his life around by coming to God. At first he didn't want to, but in the end he did, and the book is just basically about how God changed his life. So this is one of those books that is very inspirational. You know, it's not very light, and that it's quite graphic at places when he's in the fights and people get killed, that kind of things, but in terms of maybe something that will just sort of be really different from what you've previously seen, what you've already had in your cupboards or your closets or whatever you put your books in, this is one of those books that probably will get you thinking. And it says here that it's sold over 12 million copies, so I'm sure he's doing something right. That's those look done. The next read I probably suggest is something, you know, in summertime we all need something funny, and you know, this next one was surprisingly funny for me. I wasn't really keen on it at first, but I'm glad that I did read it in the end. And it's a book from a friend of mine, and she gave it to me, and it is called Can You Keep a Secret, and it's by Sophie Kinsella. And I think Sophie Kinsella is known for her laugh out loud books that most girls and women can relate to. You know, it's not a very thick book either. It's one of those books you could probably get through it in a matter of weeks. It depends how quickly you read. But I found this hilarious. I don't know how I found it so funny. It was just so real. And I think sometimes honesty is the best way, is the best plot or the best context of a book. Sometimes if it's fake, or you know, it's something that's trying too hard, it's not funny. But this really was like, you can tell that you might have bumped into this kind of girl at some point in your life, and the girl in it is really just embarrassingly fun. I got this book when I was about 13. The story is that my auntie asked me if my mum would let me read it because she sort of saw the content and she wasn't so sure. I think she was sort of a bit like, this doesn't look like the kind of book I would give my 13-year-old daughter. But anyway, I said yeah, it would be fine if she bought it, and she bought it for me anyway. And I read it, and I just sort of thought, wow. And I don't know, it opened my eyes in the ways that maybe a 13-year-old shouldn't. Pull it up because it's one of those books that sort of shocked me because I didn't know anything about anything that was going on in it. It's a book called Twins, and I think the fact that I did pick it up was just because it was called Twins. So if you know or do not know, I am a twin, so that's one of the things that I liked about it. I didn't read the blurb, I just saw the two faces on the front and thought, oh cool, you know, I can relate to that. But obviously by the content I really can't. So it's one of those books that it's about confused teenagers, I think, confused girls, don't know where they're going, but yeah, it's just got a lot in it. You know, I really read a lot. So if you sort of like books that are quite deep, that have a lot of like issues, maybe I'd put under that, maybe it's a book of issues, then maybe this would be one that you'd like to sort of invest in or have a look at. Okay, so the next category was a book that was the most craziest read. So if you want crazy reads, then here is a book I recommend for you. And this book is old. It's called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm sure many of you have come across this book somewhere before. Just because it's one of those classics that probably if you study literature or English at school, you'll probably pick it up sometime in your academic year or when you're studying or whatever. I did this in my A-level, so obviously this is a book that we had to get, and at first I was daunted by the size of it. I don't know if you can see the thickness there, but it's pretty thick, and the text isn't that crazy big either, it's pretty small. But anyway, you know, we picked it up and I kind of thought, oh, it's just one of those reads that we'll do for A-level, throw it in the bin after. And somehow it still found itself on my shelf, and I started to read it earlier and just started to think, you know, I just started to laugh. It's actually not a funny book. I don't know, and if you don't know, it's about a man who goes into a psychiatric unit and basically overturns the entire institute and basically gets all the patients to start to overthrow the nurse and authority. It's quite political. You know, the man in the end gets lobotomized, and basically it's just sort of a book about power and powerlessness and celebrating the free spirit, as it says in the front. I have a dark humour, so I laugh at everything that's just not funny, and I remember watching the film and I just thought it was hilarious. The next category is most intriguing read, and this one actually it's not in a book form, it's on my iPod, and I bought it as an audiobook, and it's called Lasting Damage, and it's by a woman called Sophie Hannah. So I bought it as an audio, but again, you know, these are the best things to take on your summer holiday with you, just because you know how you have no time again to put in books in your bag, and this sort of thing just it's really compact. You can just throw it into your bag and then put in your earphones and you're done. You know, you don't even need to read, they just read it for you. So that's why I like my audio book. I really enjoyed that book. It did take me a while to listen to everything because it is split into 2 parts. So maybe you could start reading for 1 week and then the next week you can do part number 2. That's how I did it anyway. Okay, so for the last category and for the end of our video is the easy read. So something that you just basically don't need a lot of common sense or attention to do, and that is like things that are a bit like, you know, they're just more pictures and description rather than writing. So things like this, I'm sure that every blogger, fashion YouTuber has this book in their collection. This, I didn't actually buy this, I got this from my sister. She didn't want it and she gave it to me, and to be honest, like, you read it twice, 3 times, and then it just sort of looks nice. It's one of those books that are good to put on a coffee table. It's called Style, it's by Lauren Conrad. It's sort of her way of showing you how to build up your wardrobe, what kind of pieces to get as a girl, what things that she thinks are essentials for your clothes, that kind of thing. And it's just really good because there's loads of pictures in there, really nice ways to sort of do everything from hair to makeup to fashion, to wearing the right outfit for interviews, and it's split up into nice chapters. So for those of you who really don't like reading, who aren't really bothered with the whole thing, this kind of book with all the pictures and the nice glossy finish, it probably be good for you. Okay, so guys, that's the end of my recommended book video. I don't know what to call this, maybe summer books for the summer or something like that. If you like that kind of thing, then please thumbs it up so I can do something else like this that is similar. I kind of enjoyed filming out here today anyway, so yeah, I got something out of that today. I hope that you guys did, and that you saw some books in my collection that you might actually think of buying yourself and take on your trips when you go on your holidays or vacations, whatever you do. So I hope that you have a really great summer, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Thank you.
From a heart that starts to you become my whole life, sense of all my daylight. My heart is